Let's see what kind of gaming experience we can get with the MSI RTX 4070 Super Ventus 2X at 1440p resolution in the latest games of 2024. To experience the games, I'm using the Gigabyte M27Q 1440p monitor. If you're interested in any of the products featured in this video, then you can find them at the links in the description below. Check them out. Do you need a new Windows license key like I do right here with my new PC build? Then I have a great solution for you. Over the last 3 years, I've saved a lot of money by buying my Windows keys from cdkeyoffer.com. Allow me to demonstrate. I will be going for Windows 11 Pro. So you just click on Buy Now. Then use my discount code iVadim. Hit Apply. And that brings the price down to $22. After that, you just submit the order and select the payment method you wish to use. I will be going with the safe and fast PayPal payment. So you just press Pay Now. Once you're done with your payment, you will be redirected back to CDK Offer. And that's your order complete. Now you can go to User Center. Actually, it will redirect you there, where you can just grab your key by pressing View Key Code, Get Key, and then copy it. Then you can use your search bar to quickly bring up activation settings, change key, insert that key, hit Next, activate. Wait a few seconds and there you go. Now you have your Windows activated and ready to use for a fraction of the cost that you would normally pay. Get yours now at the link in the description below. And by the way, you may have noticed that they also have other Microsoft software, including Office 2019 and Office 2016. Don't forget to use my discount code if you want to grab any of those. Let's start with Horizon Forbidden West. By the way, if your gameplay is not as smooth as you expect it to be, then I suggest you check NVIDIA reflex setting. If it is on while you are gaming at native resolution without DLSS frame generation, then it is best to turn NVIDIA reflex off. Just take a look at that. That frame time graph now is much flatter and the experience is much smoother. But with that said, we are at 1440p, DLAA is enabled, and all upscalers and frame generation are off. In terms of graphics quality, it is absolutely maxed out. So this is the absolute maximum you can get, with field of view increased to the maximum. These are the only effects that I've turned off because I find them annoying. And check it out, inside of the town, the performance is absolutely beautiful. Close to 80 FPS. It does drop to 75-ish sometimes, but 70 just then. Yeah, but this is a heavy area and we're still getting above 60 FPS. If we get out of the town, we're still getting 80 plus FPS in this particular area. Let's do some fighting. There we go. 70 plus now. Oh, I've run out of ammo. Let's craft some. There we go. Yeah, this is a very pleasant experience. Smooth. And in less demanding areas, you will get above 90 FPS. But if you want to elevate your experience and take full advantage of a high refresh rate monitor like this one here, then you can use DLSS frame generation. Let's turn that on. And once frame generation is on, it requires NVIDIA reflex, but it works fine with NVIDIA frame generation enabled. And take a look at that. We're getting a much smoother experience because we are getting many more frames. 130, 117, 120. So basically this is a close to 120 1440p experience. We're not quite there just yet, but the GPU load is at maximum. So if you want a true 120 experience, then you will have to use DLSS. But to be honest, you don't need 120. VRR works fine in this game, and it doesn't really matter that the FPS drops below 120 from time to time. It is still very, very enjoyable. But for the sake of curiosity, let's have a look how DLSS will work in this game. Let's do DLSS quality, because I personally do not recommend going below quality mode at 1440p. I think it is no surprise that the FPS is a little bit higher now. The quality is comparable to the native one, but still, it is a little bit less detailed. I think I prefer running this game with frame generation enabled and DLSS disabled, just native resolution, and boost that frame rate with frame generation. You don't really need this performance. It was fine with frame generation enabled, because we had above 100 FPS at all times. That's a great experience in my opinion. But let me know, what do you think? Which graphics settings do you prefer? Helldivers 2 remains one of my favorite games of this year, and the 4070 Super should handle it just fine at 1440p. That's why we're setting render scale to native, and we are using absolute maximum graphics preset, so all the graphics maxed out. And in terms of performance, the game does not disappoint. Or should I say, the GPU does not disappoint? Take a look at that. The FPS is well above 70, and it will stay that way. Even if we start dropping some airstrikes, it's not gonna matter, because the game is just very well optimized. There we go. Still stays above 70, very stable. And we don't even have to lower any of the graphics settings. Obviously, you can go ahead and do that if you want more FPS, but for me personally, if it stays above 70, it's fine, although having 90 FPS is better. Let's see how the game performs on high graphics preset, because there's a very little difference between high and ultra, but we could get more performance out of it. And there we go. 90 FPS. Depending on your preferences, you might decide to use high preset instead. Either way, you are guaranteed to have a great time, because the FPS stays above 60 at all times. Shall we get out? Let's go. Yeah, Helldivers 2 on the 4070 Super. Superb experience. Next up is No Rest for the Wicked. It is my personal favorite, although I must warn you that this game is early access, so the storyline is not finished yet. So let's have a look how this game performs at 1440p using best quality preset, that is the absolute maximum. And the game will have DLSS in the future, but at the moment it is not available. Inside of the town, the performance is something like 80, 70 in some scenes, and then over 100 in other scenes, so that is absolutely fine. The game developers are still working on optimizations, and to be honest, they are quite swift in their updates, so that is good to see from a game developer. Now let's do a little bit of combat. Check it out. Over 90 FPS for the most part. 100 in some scenes. Yeah. Very satisfying. There are some areas where the FPS will drop, simply because there's more going on the screen. But for the most part, it does seem to be staying above 60 FPS. There we go. Outmaneuvered him. Nice. Although I'm not a big fan of Souls-style games, I'm absolutely loving the combat in this game. But if you want more performance, then you can drop the quality down to quality, and the game still looks great. You'll get more FPS and still experience the game in great detail. Let's just do another combat here. Yeah, the FPS is higher. Very nice. Although, simply because of how good this game looks, I really want to play it on best quality. And I'm very much looking forward to when DLSS comes to this game, because, you know, if we can get to 120 FPS, oh, this will be so good. But let me know in the comments, what do you think? Have you tried No Rest for the Wicked yet? And do you even enjoy this type of graphics? Personally, I am loving it. Next up is Dragon's Dogma 2. Let's have a look at the graphics settings. DLSS is off, and everything else is maxed out. So it's not high preset, it is the absolute maximum you can set. With shadows maxed out, textures maxed out, grass and tree quality maximum, and ray tracing is enabled. As always, I've disabled just the annoying effects that either blur the vision or obstruct it in any kind of way, like lens flares, depth of field, motion blur. I don't like any of that. Inside of the town, the performance is still pretty horrible. That is all on game developers. They still haven't fixed the CPU utilization problems that this town has. They say it's because of all the NPCs. But take a look at that frame time graph. At least on the i7 14700KF that I have in this system, it is somewhat bearable. So you do get stutters still, but it's fine. If you have an i5, especially something like 14400 or worse than that, then you'll have a much worse experience. And take a look at that. As soon as we leave the town, the frame time graph is nice and flat, and that translates into a beautiful, smooth experience. So no more stutters, although the performance is not great, I would say. Take a look at that frame rate. We're barely getting above 50 FPS. Oh, let's destroy this wolf. Protect me, my minions. Yes. Strike him with lightning. Boom. Let's see if we can get a better experience with ray tracing disabled. Take a look at that. Even inside of the town, the performance appears to be slightly better with ray tracing off. And out in the world, we're now getting close to 60 FPS, although it does dip below 60 from time to time. But this is a pretty demanding scene over here. Oh. Milady, you require assistance. Let's assist her. Come on. Hit him. Hit him with lighting. Foul creature, die. Yeah, this is much better. I guess if you want to play this game with all the settings maxed out, then you better not use ray tracing. Because you're not gonna have a good time, because the FPS will drop below 60 a lot of the times. It's just not worth it. And have a look at this. Even without ray tracing, you will have scenes like this one here, where the FPS does drop below 60. So anything to do with that town over there, it just tanks the performance. But even in some outside areas, take a look at that. The FPS stays close to 60, but we do experience some drops below 60 FPS. Yeah, that is not great. Maybe we can remedy it by using DLSS set to quality mode. Let's take a look. DLSS quality selected. Let's just jump back into the game. And yeah, it's not giving us a huge performance boost, but it does seem to be helping a lot, because now I think we can expect the FPS to not drop below 60. That is indeed the case. Oh, no, it's not. I've seen FPS drop to 58 just then. Even with DLSS enabled, this game doesn't work as well as I would expect it to. My guess is that the game developers really want you to use that high quality preset that is lowering some of those settings. So let's take a look at how that one performs. And let's disable DLSS. One thing I do suggest is don't use interlaced, use progressive. Everything else can stay as per high quality preset. And have a look at that. Some of those settings have been lowered by quite a bit. Grass and tree quality is now on low. And yeah, they call it high preset. Imagine that. But I can't argue with this performance. Take a look at that. Now even in the scene where we had FPS dips below 60, we're getting above 80. Yeah, this game definitely needs some work. It requires some optimization and maybe new quality presets for the graphics. But at least now the performance is pretty good, although there are some stutters here and there. We should note that. But for the most part, it is quite smooth. And since we don't have to worry about the FPS dipping below 60, it will be a much more pleasant experience. Take a look at that. During combat, I've seen 70 plus, but in this particular scene, 90 plus. Nice. This is the kind of areas you will spend most of your time in, doing missions, killing monsters, and some bandits apparently. And there you have it. The RTX 4070 Super is a brilliant card for 1440p in 2024. As you can see, you can play pretty much all of the latest games at native resolution using the highest quality graphics presets. Of course, with exception of a few games, such as Dragon's Dogma 2. In that game, you do have to lower the graphics settings a little bit, but you know what? There's always going to be that one game that is either poorly optimized or is just too ambitious in terms of graphics. But in general, this is a very good setup. If you're interested in any of the products featured in this video, then you can find them at the links in the description below. Check them out. Share your opinion with me about this setup in the comments and give this video a like if you enjoyed it. That is the best reward you can give me for my work. Also, subscribe for more content like this if you haven't already. It was I, Vadim. Until next time.